Record his computer. Well, hello. Welcome, uh, Jan. Jan, is it Gioia?
It's Gioia. Yes, it's Joy in
Gioia.
Sicilian.
Yeah, because I was thinking her last name is Gioia, and my husband's Italian, and I'm like, I think that last name is Joy. It's
It
Gioia.
is.
Yeah.
Yes, my
Well,
husband's
welcome,
family's
Jan.
from Catania, Italy. So,
Really?
yes, so
I
that's
love.
where the name comes from.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, welcome, Jan.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I met Jan for everybody who's listening and watching, and you'll get to read. Jan has given up some precious personal time of hers to answer the list of the creative journeys questions. And I met Jan through our online yoga class series, and we met in a meditation class of all places, online in Zoom, and how that happens these days. Um, and I always say this, as much as I don't like this system of Zoom and the computer, I love how it's brought all kinds of people to your awareness and develop some new friendships. So Jan, I met through this yoga class and our yoga school, 20 or 200-hour yoga teacher training. So, and Jan has a very special program that she has developed called We Meditate. And we don't have a lot of time today to speak with Jan. She can answer the creativity questions, but I'd like you to maybe just use this as a little bit of a platform to talk about maybe your creation of We Meditate and kind of link that maybe to creativity or how it came to be. But thanks for being with us.
Oh, well, thank you so much for asking. So we met at, um, I've always been a writer since I was a little girl. Like since, first grade when they hand out the story writing paper, with the big
Yeah,
lines at the bottom and
yeah,
then the room for the drawing at the top. That was literally like my favorite thing in the world to do
sure.
was to write a story and to draw little things to illustrate it. So I've been kind of always doodling and drawing little whimsical worlds all through my life. I'm certainly not an artist like most of your audience. I'm not an artist, but I am a writer. And I've always been a yoga person since college and a meditator. But it was when I started teaching special ed that I really started bringing my creativity into the classroom, teaching children how to meditate, how to do very, very simple yoga poses in their seats mostly. A lot of my students had disabilities, but I always did it through stories and through characters because you can tell a kid, sit, breathe, do this, do a body scan, but it doesn't really resonate with them unless it's in a story because
Sure,
they love stories.
sure.
So this is just kind of what I always did, as a teacher was just did a little bit of meditation at the beginning of class, or if my students were, struggling a little bit, I taught it in an urban at-risk school district. So we had just a lot of trauma and a lot of really big needs that meditation really helped. And then as time went on, I taught my own children how to meditate, which was wonderful and helpful. And I have a chronic illness, so meditation has always been just a huge source of healing for me, symptom management, healing, just a huge practice. So I guess in my mind, because I did it and I taught my kids and my students to do it, I pretty much assumed everybody did it, but they don't.
Right, right,
And
right.
so when the pandemic came, I had moved to Colorado, and a lot of my friends back in my home state were special ed teachers, and everybody was stressed, and everybody was constantly saying to me, help me meditate. Help me teach my students how to meditate. Jan, how did you make meditation accessible? How did you teach meditation to a child who's blind or deaf or has cerebral palsy? Like, how do you do this? And I was constantly, sometimes on Zooms, but on the phone, and it was kind of getting exhausting. And I was trying to get settled here. And I was like, I'm going to just sit down and give them a resource. Like what I
Sure.
created. I'm like an inclusive meditation app. It's in a storybook world where every child is represented, with disabilities, illness, mental health challenge. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's nothing like it. Like, there's
There
nothing,
was nothing out there.
No, and I was like, how could this be 2020? Like, there's nothing like this. I mean, yes, there's lots of YouTube videos and there are
Sure,
meditations, but they're not inclusive, they're not representative, they don't celebrate the beauty that is every child.
sure.
So I was like, good grief. And then there's the pandemic, and I'm like, well, kids need this. And I thought back to a little boy who I taught, who was really transformative in my life and in my meditation, my desire to bring meditation to all kids. He actually had a terminal illness, and I share the story on We Meditate's website. But he was angry and he was scared. He was blind. He was losing his ability to walk. He wasn't expected to live much beyond his teen years. And when I was a graduate student getting my master's in special ed, he was on my caseload, and he was a very angry little child, very afraid. And everybody in this very large resource room, there were occupational therapists, like everybody was kind of in there. And then like the aide is like, here he is, there you go. And I immediately knew that he was highly anxious. And so I said to him, I said, Max, would you like to meditate with me? And I knew he didn't know what that meant. And he kind of stopped him. And he was jamming these pegs, and he kind of stopped, and I grabbed some toys and like the Fisher Price Little People Farm People. And I had read on his file that he liked superheroes. So I created a story because I was always storytelling, but I put him as the superhero in this little magical world that which now became We Meditate. But he
Wow.
was the hero in the story, but he was doing body scan. He was doing a little bit of breath work. In the story, he was meditating with the characters he was holding. And as they went through the story, oh, we're going to stop here. We're going to take some breaths. And, we kind of went through this whole story. And I was literally watching his whole demeanor. Everything just changed, and he became so relaxed. And when we were done, I said, are you ready to learn now? Or would you like to learn? He was like, let's do that again. And so it
Wow.
became where, and it was really like, wow, that really changed a child who was really struggling. And then one day I was coming into the building after lunch, and I was talking to someone in the hallway, and he had heard me. He was tapping, his little cane was kind of tapping down the hall. And he said, is that you, Mrs. G? And I said, yeah, Max, it's me. And he said, are we going to meditate today? And I realized this is this beautiful gift to give children, and it's so not made inclusive. It's not representative. I mean, if you ask most parents, you know, does your child meditate? It's almost aspirational. Well, it's either you think of a kid sitting on a mountaintop or in a meadow or on a beach, but you don't think of a child in a wheelchair or in a hospital bed, or a child, you know, even a child with ADHD. Like, you think my kid can't do that. And I'm really
Sure.
trying to break that stigma of what meditation is not what you think it is. And this
Right.
is what it is. And so that's why I started We Meditate, just to bring it to every child.
Sure. Sure. And you created so all of your characters, and well, let's really quickly want to bring this up. So people want to. I know the We Meditate works as kind of almost like a membership platform, if that's the right word. But if somebody wants to go to We Meditate and see it out, check it out without, because I know you have different like payment levels of different ways of be able to use the site. What's the best way to go about people watching this saying, "Hey, I think my kid could use it," or I want to introduce that to somebody else? Would you just tell them to go to wemeditate.com, or is it .org?
It's wemeditate.com, and we do have sample meditations on there that we change. So I think
Okay.
it's like
Without
try
having to
listen.
log in.
Right, you don't have to log in. I
Perfect.
think it's on
Perfect.
the homepage, and I don't know exactly what it says. Maybe, listen here or try
Yes.
for free or sample this.
Okay.
I
I'll
can't
put
remember
I'll put
exactly
links.
what it says.
I'll put links to that. I'll put links to that at the end of the written blog.
Sure, but yeah, so we have samples that people can listen to.
Sure. And the most of them are story based, correct? Like you have
Yes,
different characters. And if you want to just, I remember there was a little bunny character, and I think he had ADHD. And
yes,
then you have like an owl. So each character has maybe a different issue that they're challenged with. So maybe do you want to go through some of those? I thought that was brilliant.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, we really are for every child, but we really want to be representative of who is every child and really every person because like Fox has anxiety. Well, what adult or child isn't anxious?
Exactly. Right.
Mouse is very sad. Well, we're all sad at different times.
Sure.
Moose has trauma, and many of us have, if not intense trauma, something traumatic has happened in our life. So we all can relate to those characters that have the kind of like the universal needs that we all have. And then, we have Owl who is ill. And Owl is perfect for a child who has the sniffles or a cold or an earache or a tummy ache. But in our work, he's also perfect for children with pediatric cancer and other serious illnesses.
Sure.
We're used by many nonprofits here in the US and around the world. We're used by an ambulance service so that children can listen in the ambulance. Um, so, almost anyone feels ill from time to time, and we try to make them very general. We have Bear has a speech or communication disability, and who hasn't had a time when it's
Sure.
hard to talk in front of an audience or to communicate their ideas? Let's see, who's Bunny? I said had ADHD. Raccoon has an intellectual disability, so her meditations are a little bit slower and just to help children really, understand meditation. But our goal with We Meditate is to make it so that every child kind of sees themselves in every character. And
Sure.
it's meant to just be so inclusive, just really celebrate the beautiful parts of all of us with these little
Yeah.
animal characters. Because I
Yeah.
think, I see myself in them all the time,
Sure. Sure. And they're sweetly drawn. Were those sketches, did they come from you initially, or was that just another designer that you worked with?
So we have an artist who does all of our artwork for us. I have
Gotcha.
given him little ideas, and I have like little sketches in my mind of how I want our world to look, but I don't know, he does it. I'm not that kind of an artist.
Yeah.
I'm just a pad and colored pencil kind of person, but he like does it all electronically or however, to make the art the way it's supposed to be for the internet and, can flip sizes around and
Sure.
JPEGs and all that kind of stuff.
Sure. 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 Um, I know you don't have much time today besides another minute or two. Is there, what I'd like to do maybe is, Jan, we could do a follow-up, like in a month or two to see if there have been any significant changes or any big shifts. Maybe, Jan, congratulations. She just got her 200-hour yoga. You got a registered yoga certificate. And so she has completed the program. Congratulations.
Thank you. It was a lot. It was a lot more than I thought.
Yeah, I said the same thing. I was like, oh wow, let's just be 200 hours. And in my mind, I didn't actually probably sit down and calculate, well, what does 200 hours look like? Because I'm like, oh, it's self-paced. You can go whenever you want. And to me, I had written about that. Like it was always in the back of my mind, you got to finish that class. You got to finish that class. You got to. And so I'm really glad we had the opportunity to meet there on that platform. Um, Maybe too, if there's a couple photos or something you can send to me for your quick interview. But I just really wanted to give you a chance to talk about We Meditate. I also want to let people know it was designed for children and all inclusive for children, but it really, if you're an adult who likes cute and really they're very sweet cartoons and there's very sweet meditations. So if you're a person that I mean, adults can use it too. A lot of adults
They
we
do
talked
use
about
it
who are
actually, and
doing inner child work or however you
it's
want to phrase that, if really, if they had significant trauma in their childhood, this could be a really great app to use to kind of resolve some of those or help work on some of those issues.
And I would like to share this. It's not me reading the meditations at all. It's we have fabulous voice artists from the U.S. We have an Emmy Award-winning actor. We have an actress who's on Broadway in New York. We've got someone from BBC Kids in London. Actually, we have a couple in London. So it's really, when I did
Yeah.
this, I wanted this to give kids the best meditation experience. It's not just like Jan with a little mic reciting them. I mean, they're well done. I've got an audio editor. He's actually at a sound studio in London, so he makes them they're really
Yeah.
well done because I
Yeah.
wanted kids like I think my biggest thing is bring meditation and this healing gift to everybody, and it's not talked about, or there's so many misconceptions to it, or there's
Sure.
just like a lot of roadblocks, kind of like with yoga. If you think yoga, you just it's kind of like almost like a vibe, like, oh, I do yoga or I meditate, but it's not really getting into what the healing that it really is. It's just kind of like a look, and it's not about a look, it's about like a feeling inside that I think everyone should have.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. Okay, I'll let you go because I know you got another meeting coming up. But and once you hang up, I'm going to tell people how else to get in touch with you and a little bit more about your project and then we also talk a little, just another couple minutes about meditation and what our experiences and what we learned about it to demystify it a little bit. And I look forward to catching up with you with again in the future. And Jan is in Colorado, so any of my friends or contacts that are interested in trying out this website for youth, please get with me and I'll get you connected to Jan because she's got a really, really brilliant product. And we're just trying to help her get it out by word of mouth to as many people as we possibly can.
Well, thank you so much, Lori. I appreciate
Yeah.
it. And I'm sorry I had the sorry I had the
Yeah.
time wrong.
No worries. No worries.
Too
I
many
just, it was good to
time
see
zones
you.
for me. I get nervous. I mean, I've never had to deal with so many time zones in my life. I mean, like when we talk to people in Europe, it's like, oh my gosh, because it's like late in the day there, and I'm
Yeah.
not used to all the time zones. I think everybody needs to be on one time.
That wouldn't be bad. Yeah, it's 2 o'clock everywhere. And if it's
Yes,
middle of the night for you, so what?
or 5 o'clock somewhere, right?
Right, exactly. That's how it is down here. All right, Jan, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you again in another week or two. I'll
Oh, it
follow up
sounds
on an email or something.
awesome.
Okay,
Thank
dear.
you, Lori.
Yeah, thank you. Have a great afternoon, okay?
You too.
Good
Bye-bye.
luck with your meeting. Bye-bye.
Bye.